no cash, no bank, and people still get land. You see a piece of land you like, you check the price, and your brain jumps straight to that number, right? 10 grand, 30, 50, whatever number you've got in your head, and that's it. That's where it dies. What if land isn't bought the way you think it is? People are getting land without playing the usual game. Not free land, just a different way of doing it. Why am I still thinking about it like a house? So why do some people pull this off and most never do? This is Off-Grid USA, and here's the breaking point. So here's how this usually plays out. People hear that this is possible, but they have no idea where it actually starts. So let's put some order into it. There are 4 things you need to understand for this to even make sense. First, what kind of land this actually works with, and just as important, what kind of land it never works with, because most people are looking in the wrong places from day one. Second, the approach, how these conversations actually start. Third, how the money part comes up. And fourth, the legal side, what kind of agreements this usually falls under, and why this isn't some handshake fantasy or gray area nonsense. And at the end, we'll put real numbers on it, not theory, not motivation, actual monthly ranges, so you can see if this fits your life or not. I've seen this work enough times to know it's not a one-off. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They think this kind of land should be easy to find, listed, priced, ready to buy. That's not how it works. If a piece of land is sitting on Zillow with financing options, it's already built for a bank, and that's not the lane we're in. The land that makes this possible usually isn't advertised at all. In a lot of rural counties, a large portion of land isn't under a mortgage. It's already paid off. That's not rare. That's normal. That land is often owned by someone who isn't using it. They're not building on it. They're not living there. They're just paying taxes and letting it sit. And that's the key. You're not looking for land that's for sale. You're looking for land that's idle. And the owner matters just as much as the land. Paid off, not using it, not desperate to sell today. This part is way simpler than most people think. You find a piece of land you like, you find out who owns it, and you ask one basic question. Would you consider selling this property at the right price? That's it. No pitch, no numbers, no explaining your situation. Most of the time, the answer's no, and that's normal. But sometimes the answer is, yeah, we've thought about it. Or, well, what are you thinking? And that's all you need. Because now it's a conversation. You don't need 10 yeses, you need 1. At that point, the smartest thing you can do is not say a number. You ask them what they'd want to get out of it. Whoever speaks numbers first usually has the advantage. Either way, now you know where you're starting. You're not trying to buy land in the first conversation. You're trying to find out if this is even possible. Once you know that, that's when the structure starts to matter. This is the part people get wrong. They think the owner is doing them a favor. They're not. If this didn't make sense for the owner, these deals wouldn't exist. When land is owned outright, selling it online isn't always the win people think it is. You list it, you wait, you deal with tire kickers, you pay commissions, and you deal with buyers who can't close. Now compare that to this. Instead of one lump sum, the owner gets paid over time, often at a higher total price, 10% more, sometimes more than that, plus interest. That means steady income, predictable checks, and no bank in the middle. For a lot of owners, that's an upgrade. They're already paying taxes. They're already disconnected from it. So when you structure the conversation the right way, you're not asking for a discount. You're offering a different deal. Same land, different math. And this is where monthly payments come in, because the question stops being how much do you want and becomes how would you want to be paid. This is the part people stress about the most. And honestly, it shouldn't be, because none of this is informal. None of it is handshake only. These deals are written down, signed, recorded, same as any other real estate transaction. The exact paperwork can vary by state, but the idea is always the same. There's a contract that spells out who owns what, who pays what, and what happens if either side stops doing their part. As long as you do what you agreed to do, pay what you said you'd pay, when you said you'd pay it, there's no drama. Nobody shows up, nobody bothers you. You're using the land. You're building your life. It's not chaos. It's whatever the contract says. And that's exactly why this isn't risky when it's done right, because both sides are protected. This isn't about gaming the system. It's about setting clear terms and sticking to them. It starts feeling like what it actually is, a normal way people have been buying land long before banks got involved. Say the land would normally sell for around $20,000. Instead of trying to come up with that cash, you structure the deal so the owner ends up getting more, $25,000, for example. That extra amount is the incentive. Spread that out over time, and now you're not talking about a huge number anymore. Depending on the term, that could land somewhere around $150 to $200 a month, and that's the shift. The problem stops being, where do I find 20 grand, and becomes, can I realistically handle this monthly number? Because if you can, then the land isn't the hard part anymore. You don't need a pile of cash, you need a structure that fits your life and a monthly payment you can live with. That's how people end up off-grid. No bank, no mortgage, just structure. This is Off-Grid USA, built by hand, powered by freedom.